Hey guys, Ms. Strong here, delivering your second of 3 videos for this unit. Today we're going to be covering the lunar cycle, which is another product of the Sun-Earth-Moon system. Before we get into the notes, just a quick reminder that you write everything you see, and even some things I say you should write. Make sure you draw what you see. I'll tell you if you don't have to draw it. And make sure you watch it at least twice just in case you missed something the first time. So we've already looked at how the sun and earth work together to give us our day and night and our seasons. When we throw the moon in the mix, we get what we call the lunar cycle. So the moon revolves around the earth, and it takes about 29.5 days to complete one revolution of the moon around the earth. And the moon actually doesn't produce its own light. When we see the moon, it's the moon reflecting light from the sun that's shining on its surface. So when we see moonlight, we're actually seeing sunlight. And the moon's position changes relative to Earth and Sun as it revolves or moves around the Earth. The result is that we see what looks like different shapes of the moon or different phases. Finally, the moon rotates just like the Earth on its axis. But unlike the Earth, the time it takes the moon to rotate one time is equals the amount of time it takes to revolve around the Earth. The end result of this is that we only end up seeing one side of the moon through the entire lunar cycle, and it's moving very slowly. So here's one of the many phases of the moon figures that you'll be seeing in class this semester. Yes, guys, you need to draw this down. Make note that the sun, for this particular model, is on the left. The easiest way to start is to start where the cycle starts, which is the new moon. We can find this by finding where the moon is directly between the earth and the sun. Now the moon revolves counterclockwise. A quarter of the way through, we get to our first quarter. This is when it looks like the moon is half lit, and this is what it looks like from Earth, guys. It goes another quarter of the way and we get to our full moon, which is directly across from the new moon. That's when we see the full moon in the sky. Another quarter of the way and we get to our last quarter, or third quarter, which is very similar to the first quarter, except the opposite side of the moon is lit. And another quarter of the way, we're back to a new moon and a new cycle. Don't forget to draw this. Here's another figure. I know it looks really similar to the one that we just looked at, but it is different because this time the sun's on the right, which lets you know it's a different time of year. Once again, our lunar cycle starts with the new moon, which is when the moon is directly between the sun and the earth. But it looks like to us there's no moon in the sky. The cycle is counterclockwise, so we go through our waxing phases, which includes waxing crescent, first quarter, and waxing gibbous. Then there's the full moon directly across from the new moon, which is completely lit. And then the lunar cycle goes through its waning phases, waning gibbous, third quarter, and waning crescent. Don't forget to draw this, guys. And here we have some vocabulary for our lunar cycle. When we talk about waxing phases, these are when the visible illuminated area we see is increasing, which happens during the first half of the lunar cycle. There are also waning phases that happen in the second half of the cycle. That's when the visible illuminated area we see is decreasing. There are crescent phases where less than half of the illuminated area is visible to us. And then there are gibbous phases where more than half of the illuminated area is visible to us, and this happens at different times in the lunar cycle. When we talk about a new moon, that is when the illuminated area of the moon is not visible, which is at the beginning of the lunar cycle. And then we have a full moon, which is illuminated area is completely visible to us. This is halfway through the lunar cycle. So, that's all for your notes. Make sure you get everything written down. Don't forget to watch it twice. If you have any questions, let your teacher know.